The recent and rapid advancements of rebel forces against President Bashar al-Assad's government in Syria are reshaping the dynamics of the conflict. These developments mark a significant shift in a war that has lasted for over a decade, with global implications for geopolitics and regional stability. As rebel forces entered the city of Hama, the Syrian government and its supporters held on to the belief that the country's military could repel the attackers. However, it did not take long for the military to acknowledge their retreat, and the city fell into rebel hands. This was not an isolated incident. Within a week, 2 major cities have been captured by opposition forces, signaling a turning point in the conflict. Under the leadership of the extremist group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, the rebels are now advancing toward Homs, a strategically critical location. The situation in Homs is dire, as thousands of residents have already begun fleeing in anticipation of fierce battles. The city holds immense importance because it serves as a bridge between Assad's strongholds on the western coast and the capital, Damascus, to the south. Losing Homs could sever critical supply lines and deal a significant blow to the government's ability to coordinate military and administrative operations. The rise of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham has been years in the making. Operating primarily from the northwestern province of Idlib, the group has expanded its influence and is now at the forefront of the opposition. Its recent territorial gains have demonstrated its capability to act as a major contender in the conflict. Despite internal divisions among Syrian rebel factions, the growing strength of groups like Hayat Tahrir al-Sham underscores the increasing pressure on Assad's government. President Assad's government, however, is not without its resources. In response to recent military setbacks, Assad announced a 50% increase in military salaries in an attempt to boost morale and retain personnel. Yet, these measures appear insufficient to address deeper issues within the Syrian armed forces, including low morale, desertions, and inadequate resources. Internationally, Assad's fate is intertwined with the involvement of foreign powers. Russia has been a cornerstone of his survival, providing critical air support and military expertise. However, Russia's role in the conflict seems diminished this time, likely due to its prolonged engagement in Ukraine, which has stretched its military and economic resources. Despite these challenges, Russia remains invested in Syria, largely because of its strategic naval base in Tartus, the only Russian facility on the Mediterranean. Losing control over Syria's coastal regions could jeopardize Russia's geopolitical interests, making it likely that Moscow will continue to support Assad, albeit with less vigor than in the past. Iran, another key ally of Assad, has traditionally supported him through both direct military involvement and the use of allied militias. However, current indicators suggest that Iran is treading cautiously. Economic pressures and the desire to avoid further regional entanglements appear to have limited Iran's willingness to fully mobilize its resources in Syria. Nonetheless, Iranian-backed groups such as Hezbollah remain active in supporting Assad. The presence of Hezbollah fighters in Homs reflects their commitment to preserving Assad's rule, though the group's strength has waned in recent years due to leadership losses and internal challenges. The Syrian conflict is further complicated by the fractured nature of the opposition. Rebel factions are divided along ideological, ethnic, and strategic lines. While Hayat Tahrir al-Sham dominates the current offensive, other groups, including Kurdish militias and remnants of the so-called Islamic State, are also vying for influence and control. This fragmentation has historically worked to Assad's advantage, as his opponents have struggled to present a unified front. The broader implications of the conflict extend beyond Syria's borders. Neighboring countries remain deeply affected by the war, grappling with refugee influxes, security threats, and economic challenges. The international community continues to face criticism for its inability to resolve the crisis or provide adequate support to those affected. While some nations have backed opposition forces, their support has often been inconsistent and insufficient to tip the balance decisively against Assad. Domestically, Assad retains the support of minority communities who view extremist groups like Hayat Tahrir al-Sham as existential threats. These communities, particularly Alawites and Christians, fear that a rebel victory could lead to widespread persecution and instability. This support has been a critical pillar of Assad's resilience, even as his government faces mounting challenges. The future of Syria hangs in the balance. The recent escalation has once again raised questions about Assad's ability to maintain control over the country. While his allies have been instrumental in his survival thus far, their shifting priorities and limited resources may constrain their ability to intervene decisively in the coming months. The rebels, on the other hand, face their own hurdles, including internal divisions and the challenge of sustaining their momentum against a determined and resourceful adversary. As the battle for Homs looms, the stakes could not be higher. The outcome of this confrontation will likely shape the trajectory of the Syrian conflict and determine whether Assad can hold on to power or if his opponents will finally succeed in overthrowing his regime. In this evolving and unpredictable landscape, the role of regional and global powers will remain critical in shaping the future of Syria and the broader Middle East. Thank you for engaging with this content. If you found it insightful and want to stay updated with more in-depth analysis, like this post to show your support, comment to share your thoughts or ask questions, and don't forget to subscribe to stay connected for future updates. Your feedback and engagement mean a lot.